Okay, guys, so we're back with some more Chaos Zero Nightmare. Now, I want to get into the 5 things that I wish I would have known before I started the game, because I feel like there's a lot of things that I did, and I'm sure you have done, that you're like, you know what? I probably might want to start a fresh account. Well, I'm not in that position, but I know there were some people that did that. And so for a lot of you guys that are working your way along or just starting out, I want to make sure you guys are honestly prepared as much as you possibly can be. Now, again, with that, I want to start off with one of the very first things that I feel like is really, really important. And it's starting with your units, right? So it's one, identifying what you want to play, right? I think that this is definitely the biggest component to this game. I through and through, yes, have developed other units, but as far as the Zero system itself and creating the save data builds so that you can go and do those other modes, you got to solidify what your main 3 are going to be and then the sub 3 that you're going to use. And the reason this is just because it's not going to be an endless amount of currency for you to just be able to build everything all at once right now. And this is primarily because of one of the bottleneck resources in the game that you come across only after you've completed a certain amount of content, which, if we look here, is the shades or shards of condemnation. Or condemnation, and then also here the Eye of the Wailing Prodigal. So these 2 resources are what I would consider to be your bottleneck resource on whatever unit that you're trying to develop. So in my opinion, it would be really smart for you to really try to focus one main DPS, because other than that, you're not really going to be able to build them to their full potential if you're trying to spread evenly across every character. Now, eventually it will even out, but as far as these mats go, you're not going to be able to dump these into every single character all at once. So I wish I would have known that, but you just don't know that until you're at the point of unlocking it and being able to visibly see it. So hopefully that helps somebody out. Now, the other thing that kind of goes with this too, is also in turn the save data, actually farming and what really matters, etc. And I want to kind of talk about that chaos versus the Zero system, etc. I feel like, again, we've talked about this before, but the chaos manifestation is a system that I think is kind of to get you going with some beginner save data builds, but I even think that this can be applied to the Zero system. And I'm almost certain there's a lot of players that have wasted a ton of units thinking that they were really honestly doing what they were supposed to do. Now, what I'm referring to is a video that I just did, which is increasing your difficulty basically made easy, and really just kind of talking about how I go about and how I've been going about raising my difficulty and why I'm doing so. This is obviously a really important component because when you're crafting these new codexes, it costs you units. Now, the one thing that it doesn't tell you is that as you are going up in difficulty, the cost of the codex that you're crafting will go up, not only in terms of chaos orbs, but also in terms of the unit. And this is the easiest way, and I would not have guessed it would have happened this way, but this is the easiest way to actually burn out your credits. Like, believe me, I almost did it myself, and this is one thing that I would say wholeheartedly, if you can try to avoid getting yourself to that place, this is why I would say if you can try to push those higher ones to get the better builds quicker, go for it. Because if you're just only, say, for example, doing like level 40 or 50s and you're not really pushing up to the next difficulty, you're never actually going to get better occurrences to make your builds better. And so this ends up tapping into your units way too much, and you need a ton of units to build up your units. This is when we're talking about like the uncapping portion going from, level 50 to 60. That's 500,000 units that you need. And on top of that, if you want to level this unit from 50 to 60, it's going to cost you another, I think, 600,000 or something like that. Like, it's pretty expensive. So it's like 1.1 million just to level your character. So you don't want to go and just throw resources into whatever, not really being mindful of the fact that you do still need this resource universally. for a lot of other factors, right? Like even leveling and or leveling what's it called, memory fragments, or I mean, you use units for leveling and unlocking potentials. It gets used for quite a bit, right? So that's something that I definitely would say I wish I would have known, was that's going to end up costing you if you aren't paying attention and or being mindful. Now, another thing I think that also kind of goes into that zero system kind of mentality of trying to climb, it's also the need of like saying like, oh, I'm just going to stay up there. I would definitely advise, and one thing that I would say you want to pay attention to is your achievements, because the achievements are also going to be a ton of different things that require you to clear something at a lower difficulty. This is something that I would say isn't necessarily your farm, but you're targeting it. So like it says, clear random codex difficulty level 5 for blue pot, right? So that's something I now have to go back and do, but it's not something that I'm farming, right? So it's a complete difference. You don't want to be farming at the lower difficulty. You definitely want to be ISO picking and trying to complete the codexes that you can for that random or for that specific difficulty, right? So very, 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 very important. And that's just kind of a part of the system and the farm of it. But I definitely think that like those are things that you kind of figure out, you know, a lot later than sooner, unfortunately. Now, another thing that I wish I would have known, and this is something that I think some people may have made this mistake, is when they're crafting their codexes, they just started out with their chaos orbs. Now, I personally was doing that, and it's kind of, again, kind of is to follow up what we just talked about. But I definitely would avoid doing chaos orbs initially. I would say that your chaos orbs are best used, especially when you're first starting this, going into your upgrade system. I think the upgrade system is definitely something that is going to make it easier for you to get through the zero system. And if you really want to make your build, like I said, getting as close and as just the highest possibility and probability of getting it as good as possible, giving yourself the chance to be as strong as possible, this is what you're going to need to invest in, right? So it's very, very important that you are building the upgrade because it gives you so much value. Now, outside of that, another thing, and this is one thing that I want to talk about too, is with the rescue, right? Because I think a lot of players have been making this mistake. And then the reason why I know it's happening is because I've seen people doing it in videos. And I know in turn that's going to mean other people that aren't content creators are going to be doing it, right? I highly advise you guys to not utilize your prism film unless it is the monthly one, right? For a unit that you absolutely want to guarantee you're working those prisms for. But this also is going to apply, okay, to the partner resource, which also is shared for the combatant. Now, this is the system that we, or the shop that we have for us to be able to get duplicates. And like, as you can see, out of all the pulls I've done, I only have 120 of this, okay? You need 400. So if you go in here and you start buying, like, for example, if I was to sit here and say, oh, I want to buy, more pulls, that's 12 for 120, which, if we're being honest, am I going to get what I want? I mean, it's a possibility versus the guaranteed of something I may have. And I will say in this game, duplicates are extremely strong. I definitely think they are worthwhile getting for some of these characters, because some of these characters with their dupes become entire monsters, and they're good at base, but my God, they become even better when you have them dupe, right? And then the same thing can also be said about getting partners, right? Like if you notice that like you have a unit that's like working extremely well, and you want to try to get a partner that best suits them, this is going to be one of your best opportunities to do so if the gacha isn't being so nice to you, right? And again, it is guaranteed as long as you have 300 of this currency, which is the moment of the Radiant Hero. So I personally wouldn't go and spend this. I just think it needs to be said because some people, they don't know, right? They just are like, oh, it's extra pulls. I see pulls, I'm going for them. And some people are still going to do that. But I definitely think this is a little bit more based around the wants and needs and long-term gameplay. But from what I've seen, it seems like there's a lot of satisfied players overall that want to play long term. So if you're looking to play long term, I would highly advise you not to go crazy with spending that resource. So, you know, wish somebody would have said that, right? And just make sure I'm saying it here so nobody freaks out. Like, nobody ever told me. Well, Zox told you, okay? Now, the next thing, and I think that this is something that you will kind of fall into not realizing, if you're trying to make your progression a little bit quicker, obviously something I wish I would have known was that, one, focusing on one character for friendship is really important, right? Now, the thing is that you're going to have a mission, right, that says get a character to friendship level 15. That alone can lock you out of your growth missions for some days. So if like you're like trying to like, oh, I want to friendship build these characters, like, no, focus on one character. Like that was my Ren, for example. We got her all the way to, I think right now, like what, level 15. I'm gonna probably try to push her a little bit more, just because I'm not sure if there's another mission, which there is a possibility it's another mission that's coming. I could at least confirm for level 15. But with that being the case, it is going to be really important that you guys focus that, because that will bottleneck you on your growth missions for a few days, if not for longer, depending on what you're buying. And this, I guess, kind of goes into like one of the last things that I really wanted to focus on, which is the Ark City. And it's, of course, like, honestly, like with me going through as many rotations, really pushing the shop for the research notes so that you can do more of the research facility, because really, honestly, like getting to some of the good effects, or an effect that I feel like is going to be really, really potent and powerful in combat, I actually think it is somewhere down here. Hold on. I know it takes a little bit to get to it, and it's kind of unfortunate because it's actually really good. But there's a couple of different points that I want to bring up here. Is that number one, you get more stamina, so increase the amount of aether that can be stored by 5. So why wouldn't I be trying to push this as hard as I can, right? And there's more nodes that, by the way, do that. So not only that, you get extra rewards going into incursions, more affinity. This right here is the one I was looking for, the unlock reroll dice proto skill. This is a really, really important skill that you're going to want in combat. It is going to require you to basically have 55 plus of this currency, or levels, sorry, into the research facility. And I wish I would have actually known beforehand, because I didn't read all of this, but this effect actually allows you to re-deal your hand. Like reshuffle it. Like you can just shuffle your whole hand and get a whole nother, like you just get get a whole nother set of cards, because sometimes the rolls you may get may actually cook you and you lose. That is something that's going to help you out tremendously as you are using currency and going into you know, the higher difficulties and zero system, so that you're not wasting codexes, because codexes really equate to units. And if we're saying like right now, like I was showing you guys, even at my current level in the zero system right now, it costs me, if we want to make a level 8 codex, 72,000 units, and this price is only going to go up, and it ends up, I think, getting closer to like almost 100k. So yeah, with that being the case, that means that you now are wasting 100k every time you lose a codex, right? So just kind of food for thought there. I think that is something that like I said, I wish I would have known all of these different points, because it really does make the game, one, a lot more seamless when you know these things, but also two, you're a lot more careful, right? So that's basically all I got for you guys. Again, let me know how you guys feel in the comment section down below. Has the game felt difficult? Have you made a ton of these mistakes? Are you starting a new account or fresh account? Let me know what you guys are doing. But that's going to be basically that with this one, guys. Everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next Chaos Zero Nightmare video.